Sithi ta 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 ta. Sithi hela la hela la hey hela. Sanbonani. This is Pastor Sebenzuza, umama wezitata. Nilalela umsakazo ohamba phambili kakhulu, Ncebakazi Heartbeat.
Hello, this is Puleng from Worship House. Tulula Otobo. You are tuned into the number one radio station, the Ncebakazi Heartbeat, Leandra FM.
Yes, it is indeed the Ncebakazi Heartbeat, Leandra FM. You've just listened to Ncebakazi Msomi ethi kufezwa kwamadinga. If you grew up in Assemblies of God just like me, you would definitely know the song. It's a hymn, a beautiful hymn, and there is no way that you can just finish it without it taking you to the third heaven. I just want us to read before we introduce our guest for tonight. In Nahum chapter 1 verses, I think I'll just take verse 3. And go verse 3, I'm not going to read the whole verse. It's just, it's two sentences, okay? The second sentence in a comma. That is the sentence I want us to go to. Nahum chapter 1 verse 3. Lithi uJehova unendlela yakhe esivunguvungwini nasesiphephweni namafu ayibhuqu lezinyawo zakhe. uJehova unendlela yakhe esivunguvungwini nasesiphephweni namafu ayibhuqu lezinyawo zakhe. And when you read it in English, I'll read it in your hearing. Nahum chapter 1 verse 3. The Lord has his way in the whirlwind and in the storm, and the clouds are dust of his feet. Yes, welcome to the Last Supper. This is the Duke on Radio, your mom's favorite boyfriend, and tonight, as promised, sinosiswe to Ncebakazi. Hashtag ukufezwa kwamadinga, hashtag wachithikazi, hashtag even me, hashtag ngcwele, hashtag lingevinjo. Sawubona seswami.
Sawubona, wow. Hey, Nkosi yami kodwa kondlalelwa ngeverse khona. Hey, sibusise sikhulu. Molo bhuti, molo.
How are you?
I am very well by the grace of God, really, honestly. I'm good. Chukulungile. Yeah.
Okay. Before we go any further, usenzani kodwa ngokufezwa kwamadinga?
Oh, kodwa bhuti wami.
What are you doing to us?
Yazi futhi kwakumnandi kabi, you know, it was during the second set. You know, when your producer says it's fine, you know, sesigqibile nge-first set. Normally pressure means baku-first set, yabo. Abo ingoma ezifaka ku-second set, you are not even thinking about them being your single. It's just, you know, it's an opportunity for you to just now be in church if you want, and that is exactly what God gave us. Post-production now,
what have you just done?
Because even my earpiece, you know, where your producer will talk to you and say, okay, we're running out of time. Okay, my earpiece had fallen off, so I could not hear anything. They could not control or direct.
Praise God for that.
Praise God for that, because now I suddenly thought which is a nightmare for people who organize these things sometimes. But honestly speaking, for us, people who do this for the purposes we do it for, it was the best thing that could have happened to us, honestly.
At exactly 5 minutes 15 seconds of the song, something just happens. Something just happens, not only to you, something just happens to the crowd listening to you. What? Just tell me about that moment.
Hey, but I just, you know, like, for me, you know, the song itself, it is when you are panting and waiting in anticipation for something that God has promised. And the greatest promise that He has given us is the Holy Spirit. So, you know, we're recording this in March. So much uncertainty. Funny enough, we are still in a space where we actually thirsty even now, even more for God to clarify. So many things are questionable, you know, in the world. But the only point of clarity is God Himself. So, Mnanje, it was just, I don't believe I was singing, I was praying. You know, the song for me is a prayer. You know, I was praying. So the minute I finished, you know, the church, I won't call it an audience, broke out in prayer as well. I believe they connected to the heart of pleading to God. You know what, God, in case we have been too cute, acting too cool for school, we really need you. Jesus. You know, we are really now, you know, backed up against the corner. We are just desperate for you. In our time, in our homes, in our families, in our churches, you know, be the center again, you know, in our country, be that again. So I believe it just became an intercessory moment where everybody was just like, you know what, we don't care about let's show asinandaba. Nansi ndaba, you know, that we need, which is God, please, if siyayifumana indlebe yakho, just understand how much we are panting for your presence in our land now more than ever.
Wow. And I hear you coming back, and after that 5 minutes 15 seconds, and at 6, I think it was 6:25 or 6:35, again it happens. It just carries you, it just takes you. And for you to allow the Spirit to lead you in a recording, in a very strict environment, as much as it is a place where you worship God, but there is people who are very strict with time, like your producers and all that. Nathi kusesambulu nase alliance. Did at that moment your earpiece is off? Do you think of, yay, my earpiece is off, or you don't realize, or you just don't care, or you just...
Budram, I won't even lie to you, I did not care. Lapo, you know, there was a point after, because God just kept on hovering, even post that song. Even post that song. The next song was Ncwele. Then lapho bandikhatha phakathi khona, because now you are sweating too much, it's going to look ugly on camera, on what. They had to tap me on the shoulder. Hey,
that's exactly how I felt.
Anginandaba nobuhle, baze bathi bangihle kwikamera angimuhle, ndashayina andashayina. Hey guys, we need God, you know, and whatever we are doing, whatever we're doing in the name of God, asikwazi, and futhi nifundiswe loo nto ke enkonzweni ukuthi asikwazi, you know, ukumdumisa masekhona siphinde sithi hayi ke sikufake eshelfini. No, akayonto yokudlala. No, he's the living God. So asinothi sesithi bawo sicela, because sihamba naye vele umoya ongcwele, but xa sithi sifuna ukusifudumaze, you know, your presence now isithungele nathi sive like a body of Christ, athi sele lapha siphinde sithi okay, enough now Lord, step aside. We can't, you would be playing.
Confused generation.
Confused generation.
Okay, because that's exactly how I feel with regards to Ncwele, because Ncwele, I feel like you could have gone a bit more. You could have again allowed that which led you kufezwa kwamadinga. I felt ukuthi no man, uyirobile le. Uyirobile no.
Babese bemthumele phambi kwami ke ngoku owe makeup no petty towel. But yeah, she's sweating too much. But busy. Futhi I've been told, hey, you close your eyes too much. And I'm like, hey guys, you don't understand. I'm connecting where I'm connecting. Just let me be. But
wow.
I believe all things work together for good, man. So yeah.
Amen. Okay. Before we even get to your music, it was a sneak preview. I wanna know who is Ncebakazi. I wanna know the lady from Eslalini, that little girl. Who is Ncebakazi? Where were you born? Uzalwa nabobani? And all that. Tell me that which you've never told any interviewer.
I'll try my best. So Ncebakazi, originally Nkansu, right? Born and bred in East London. Of course, as Lali, never better how to Eastern Cape.
That's what comes to mind.
I know. You guys see the grazing cows and whatnot. Those are very. I wish I had cows.
Oh, okay.
I wish I grew up around those. But yeah, so Mdantsane, so I grew up in a family. Siba 11 ekhaya. Umama mnutatam bachata back in 1963. Then they had us, literally my big sisters and my big brothers. Could have easily been my parents because they're so great at the age gaps. Between well, okay, between me and them, but what Mama no Tata did, Tata Kuta Wavela as defending a verse, Bible, Yashu, Kamani Nandi. So almost every year, this death, almost every year, Mama was giving birth. A working woman, by the way.
What?
She's one of, yes.
Maternity leave every year.
She inspires me, that woman. Mama, I even understand that at some point she was so used to giving birth. She would give birth on a Thursday. Next Monday, I'm telling you. So I come from that environment. It's a big, big family. There's I think 25 grandchildren. It's a very, very big family. So it's like in Pule in a village on its own, yabo. Very shy, Ncebakazi. Very extremely shy. So
I
much
can
so,
sense
I've
that
seen
even now. I think you're still
Can you
shy.
sense it now?
Yeah.
Thank you. You see now, because most people see me in a different context and they think, yo, can't you know? Not even. Well, if you see me in a social setting, if I'm with people I'm used to, again, maybe I'll be loud. But I'm still very shy in certain ways. So just very shy, very reserved, and also I think maybe I was a little bit of a nerd. Yeah, that I've never told any interviewer. I was a little bit of a nerd because I got born again at the age of 9.
Okay.
So I had no business in the streets. So my books, I always had this crazy ambition of. Yeah.
What happens? What happens? You getting saved at the age of 9? Age of 9. What am I thinking? Not even girls at that time. So you can't tell me to think about Jesus.
Yeah.
What happened?
Funny.
Do you remember
Yes, because so the normal church store. So for me it was that as well. But but I've got a forehead. Especially with the forehead. Especially with the forehead is a thinker. They push back a little bit. They question a lot of things. So yeah, I'm the youngest, I'm the shyest, I'm the most timid at the time. And Ekaya, Umama, preaches the word of God. Tatam was an elder, but Mama was the one who wasn't still is a preacher. So she would preach the word of God every night. She would be in that Bible sharing with that. I would be part of it. But the person who would really preach about so would be Umama. So she did it for a while. And then at some point, if we are every Sunday because so it also happened to me when probably since the age of 6 or 7. Every article because you're imagining this devil with the horn and with the fork, right? But something, man, happened at a time when I was 9 years old, where Umama's teachings at home coincided with a revival that was in church. And I promise you, for the first time, I learned about the depth of the love of God as young as I was. So I'm like, so this thing is not about hell.
Oh my word.
So the gospel is not about hell. It's not about, and that's not what they were preaching all along. It's just that as a child, you will gravitate towards what you fear.
Yes,
right?
True.
So I'm like, this thing has never been about hell, but it's about this great love story. And that's what, the Christ element is. It's about this great life story of somebody who wants to journey with you in life to make it easier, not to make it hard. not to overburden you, but to really just link you to a pathway of understanding who you are in Sabine. So yes, when I was 9 years old, and I cite 9 because that's when I believe I got the biggest clarity. And then for the first time I went and I testified in church. I'm being shy, that was it. I was done. Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello?
Ncebakazi, can you hear us? Okay, we seem to have lost her for a second. We will be back just right after this.
Umoya wami uyakhothama kuwe bawo.
Yes, the devil is a liar. We are back. Sorry for that. Network problems. Ncebakazi, as you were telling us.
Yes, so testified for the first time then, and I journeyed with God. And I like to say this because I preach to young women especially, and to young people in general. And I like to say this, Uti. At that time I thought, okay, because body patterns me. Once they reach teenage stage, so I was like, okay, I'm Tatalo Yesu, but when I'm a teenager and whatever is burning there burns me too, I'm gonna leave him. I'm gonna leave him and pick him up later. But by the grace of God, God never allowed that to me. He just quenched I was just a weirdo. I was young but a weirdo.
Okay.
too serious for my age at every stage. No, God, no. In fact, I used to fantasize about beating up boys.
What?
I have 8 brothers. You have to understand. I have 8 brothers.
My word.
I have 8 brothers. So our environment, is the 3 girls, 8 brothers. So even though we are female, right? So it's cooler around boys. So the fun part for us was not to so much but you get into fights here and there and whatever. And I was a little bit of a strong girl, so I enjoyed giving boys a beat down.
What?
So only later now, but hey, boys are something. When people are amazed by boys. In fact, even today, I kind of get shocked sometimes when I see, yay, because boys are just boys.
Okay.
My brothers would literally fight in my face, so I didn't get the fascination. So I think God should just use that to just rescue me from many things. So yeah, man, I journeyed with God, and He was just faithful in my life. And the more I have honest conversations with God. Even now, I'm a person. I appraise my walk every year. I do it with a lot of my relationships.
What?
And the person I'm married to calls me a weirdo. No, because I like to assess Uti. God, are you still happy with me? Yes, I'm so that I just like to have honest conversations with Him. So I believe for me that has been a great part of my walking with the Lord. If there are things I don't understand, I'm very honest and open to Him about those. And at certain phases, especially in my early 20s, I was like, God, this thing no longer makes sense for me, no ways. But His hand would grip me all the more, and there would just be a fresh revival upon my life that would just not allow me to leave Isanda aside. Yeah.
When do you realize, Uguti, you've got a voice?
Because they could all sing, and I was young.
Boy,
I think I was 5. No, man. I think I was 5, and I didn't know what was it. What was it? What was singing? Is it vai? So I caught on. Maybe around 6, 7, I caught onto it, and then after low age 9, I soon did my first solo in church. I loved that song. It was a very serious song for my age, but I sang it there in church youth service, and then I started joining groups. And because I was shy, right, I would quit every week, and then they would go home and beg. Yes, I was when, and food, sometimes these things people don't understand because if it's joyous, I would quit every year. Chatting kids a nose.
What?
I'm telling you, but you picked up good. I'm shy.
Yes.
Because even to do this project, it took my husband and Usiangoba just no pulling. She came to my house at some point and was like, hey, we are yes. She was like, hey, sis, we are recording. And I'm like, no, guys, you do not understand. But it's a different level, Obviously, also the stakes are higher, and I like to do things for the right motive and given the correct action, because then I believe if God directs me to it, He's gonna carry me through it. So yeah, I'm trying to because they look good, because it might be good, but not meant for your part. And I respect God's guidance over my life because He has never led me astray.
Are you aware that every second sentence you put God there?
But he's my bestie. Okay, he's my bestie, then he's my husband. So, and that's
what has this guy done to you? What is this God? Every second.
Can you imagine walking with somebody? And this is what I also like to mention, because, like, for instance, I'm very dedicated in my academic space and in my workspace.
Mm-hmm.
Even there, I include God, because I'm like, your God, sometimes I don't feel like I'm smart enough to grasp or get my head around this problem and how to solve it. Can you just guide me? So I journey with him. Sometimes but I found a friend, in Jesus, and for me,
I kind of feel, Uguti, even if I can ask you what did you eat today, you'd be like, I think God enabled me to
in
eat.
the food arena, for me, it's healthy, okay? And I'm not sure if God approves of that. In the food arena, I don't know if God approves of that, so I won't eat it.
Okay, so you've mentioned the Joyous celebration, and most of us know you from there, Tell me about the first day in Joyous. Maybe before that, how do you get to Joyous? And what makes you decide? Just take me through a journey of that.
Alright, so she said at home it's a Friday night.
Ekaslam, I grew up there, by the way.
Oh yeah, lovely. Yes, I actually love it at home because I've had for more than 10 years now. So that's where my local church is, mostly. Yeah. If it feels right, it feels right. It doesn't. So it felt right for me.
Okay.
So I'm farewell. I'm fundisi uSanele Obuthwe. And because she goes around and she preaches, it was quite packed. Farewell. How lo and behold, in fact I hear sister Isatula Apa. I hear the service was 6, I think, and I figure around 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I tell you, but I didn't get not one chance to sing. So when there are people like what in the room, sometimes blood pressure is about as fun, and me, I was chilled. Shy pressure. So that's why I was standing in one corner the entire time, and I was begging everyone, anyone who wanted to take the mic, be it the MC or the worshippers, I didn't have a problem. Only at midnight, when you go to something about midnight. Tell your neighbor there's something about midnight.
Neighbor, there's something about midnight.
So at midnight, Utata machine, of the bride to be, who was the pastor who was getting the farewell, says no. He got the home. I love the choir. Choir. It can't be good. After everyone is sung here, the choir is too long. So could be the choir. The song was it's not my song, but it belongs to another very anointed lady within the choir. She sings it. It goes, Upakeme Jehovah, ufanelwe ludumo. It's after midnight, and they've been singing quite vigorously the entire night. So when it means to go high, she should goes once. Second time, better on the shoulder upper, desperately, and she gives me the mic and she says, I can't, my voice is gone. I grab the mic, and I mention this to say to people, you know, sometimes you might not create opportunities for yourself, but if God wants to direct you to something, you know, it just causes ways to open up on their own. So I take the mic now, and for me it's church. I call it 10. I sing. It's after midnight. Some people are gone. I don't know who's still here, who's not. I sing. Once, twice, 3 times. We finish off the song, and for me it's normal worship as I would conduct it in church. Finish
in your mind, so I get in your mind.
Aye, don't they cut that part out if you are recording. But he's not the tallest man in the room, so even if you know what I'm saying, you can just sneak out.
Yes.
I finish, it's after midnight, I'm tired, I'm in Shala all the way in 4 ways. Imagine being a female driving from Katlehong. So I grab my bag, and as I'm rushing out, the MD of the worship team, who is now Pastor Mbingu, Kevin Mbingu, approaches me and says to me, hey, Ubaba Mkhize wants to see you. Did you what? I'm thinking, we are trying to like a foot.
Yes.
Money, I'm not Mkhize. And then, when I to serious, I say, landed again, his bags up. Just figure out the parking lot, that Mkhize will buy his car. He says, in the pet is unique. Ngicela uJohnny Joyous. When I had it's a joke. Am I being punked? Am I being pranked? But okay, I'm tired. I came from work to church. And then he says that, and I'm like, yo, the truth. And then I respond to him because I hate him. Silapa, but pila nabazali as well. So I'm a little bit young, and so I'm like, no, thank you so much. I'm shocked and I appreciate. However, I work. So at that time, I'm thinking these people are singing every day because you see them on TV. I'm thinking they are singing daily.
Oh yes, because you see them daily on TV.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm like, no, I work, so that's why I came to Johannesburg. So Uma won't allow me, you know, to let go. And he's like, no, we like it when people have got their own careers. We'll support you. When I figure a baseline Monday, don't figure kuno the names that are being mentioned, you know,
name dropping, yes.
You know what I'm saying? And he's going to give you A, B, C, and D, and I don't want to say the rest of history, but yes, then the following Monday, next thing, I do get this contact prior from the Joyous office. And I'm just, at that time, I'm not because I'm not sure I believe what's happening.
Yes.
Until I go there, I get there, and I'm given the CD at Joyous 14, which I'm Pumamela City, because that's what we're touring with now. Babe's record AICC. Yes, and then I get there, and I'm starstruck, but I must pretend to be strong. Act like body look.
Oh my word!
No, and I mean, varsity days, I used to listen to Udogos like crazy. She's sitting right there, because you don't want to feel uncomfortable as well, right? Uba screamela up. She's sitting right there. And it's a normal day at the office, you know. I think it was just before he's reporting as ICC. Then we went to the Durban ICC. Yeah, his stage is kulugangaka. Singing in a local church sometimes. This stage at the ICC, the way it was so wide and huge. And I couldn't believe that I'd be standing there. And the first show started. And I just felt at home. I just felt at home. It was daunting. It was nerve-wracking. Luckily, I didn't have a song on that project. So it was just 15. I had my own nerves, enough nerves just standing there on my second or last line. But it was really such an amazing experience. One for the books. I'll never forget, ever. My very first night at ICC.
When do they give you your first song? How did your first song come about? What song
then we start to tour. So I need to say record on December.
Yes.
Then kuzo tour again ngo March. And then ubane joy yokuthi okay, well, I suppose people, hey, I'm a weirdo, honestly speaking. but ubanejoy ukuthi well akho into izokubeka spotlight yet, so you'll be learning the ropes. We get there, pass over. Mkhize says we have the first show, I believe, that morning. That time it was we had 7 shows in the Easter weekend. 7. I don't even know how we used to do it, from Friday to Sunday, back to back. Wednesday I get the first show on Thursday night, yeah. And then he says to me, ufuna ndicule uyinkosi yezulu ingoma ka yayicula ngutata uVlomkwena kuJoyous some point uphakeme kakhulu, and he gives me the mic, and you know, yes, and then I'm given the mic, and there I am on this big stage. It was a state theater at the time, but honestly for me, as much as I thought I would be nervous, for me again, you know, I think, and this helps me everywhere I am. For me again, it was like because for me, nothing matters more than God himself. I know Nikili break now. I didn't mention you for the last 10 minutes. nothing matters.
You are a weird one, really. It's a studio. We're just a big high five right now. Yeah. So yes, I sing the song when like I'm in church, and I honestly really enjoyed how they can, and I like to say this too, that they didn't try to change me, you know. I was not perfect. They knew I was not perfect. I didn't come from a musically trained background, but at the same time, Mkize respected the fact that he found me in church. Now he didn't try now with mold because you know, this is something else that people don't understand. People normally think if uzamile ungena kuJoyous awangena kwangena omnye, it means lo ucula ngcono kunawo. No, not at all. We are so diverse, and our levels, some of us, you know, talent levels are not that great. It's not that amazing, but they look for whatever it is that sets you apart, and if it's your understanding of what you are rendering before God, they will take it over a voice that sounds 10 times better than you. So sometimes people feel this pressure about, oh, it's a musician's world, you know, let me be perfect. No, you don't need to be perfect. Just demonstrate what God has planted in you, and the world will take it because it's authentic, not because it's perfect. And I will forever be thankful to them for just allowing me to be, even in the songs that they will allow me to present. You know, if and I'm like, Ncebakazi, they'll understand, you know, because he's also for my service of God, you know. Sometimes it'd be like, hey, but same, you know, they took me as I was. For that, I'll forever, I don't even want to cry, but I'll forever be thankful, because I know there's such a great pressure in the industry to fit in, and they never made me feel that way, as imperfect as I was. Which year was this when you joined the Jazz Project 15?
This is during the end of 2010.
End of 2010. And yes, you left when?
2017. I left 2017, so after 7 years.
I don't know if you remember, Middleback Banquet Hall.
Yeah,
I can't recall which year was it. I think it was 2015, 16? And just as the show was ending, I don't know if you were the last act, I can't recall perfectly, but everyone screamed Ncebakazi, and you had to be brought back to stage.
Yes.
What happens when that happens? What happens to you when you get that standing ovation?
You are good with your memory. And that night, I like that you mentioned, because it was the prime example of the Ncebakazi want to be back in my shell kind of person, because I actually was by cooking on my arm that night.
Yo.
So it's because I had not sang the whole night. You know, they are very sensitive to understanding in terms of the space that they are in. So I went to him and I said, my voice is not great. Yes, I had a bit of a flu. No one is thinking COVID. You know, saying, hey, Spila was in the now. Say you've got flu, you are sent home. So I said to him, I've got a bit of a flu, please check out my song. But really, I just wanted to be, sometimes, you know, you just want to be in your own zone where you are just receiving ministration from others. So I felt like I just need to be strengthened by others. So I wanted to be in my shell, and I was there the whole night. How? Now,
Yes.
but my name is even long, people. It's not those
We found the
cute
rhythm.
names.
We were screaming there.
You found
You know,
the
we found the rhythm. You know, but it was great that night, man.
Oh, bless God. We glorify God for real. Because now saying and then if we see a puma, but then she's saying when you
And now people are screaming, calling out the woman who went to Joyous and didn't know the C sharp and the F sharp and the whatever, and wasn't that experienced with music and doesn't have a degree or no hold a diploma in music. It can only be the grace of, there's me saying the grace of God every second sentence. And why do you decide to leave Joyous?
But akuhlalwa.
Okay.
But I could have stayed for a while longer. I just finished my I'd just gone through two and a half years of my MBA. I was tired because you juggle, right? So I was juggling my studies, juggling work, and then I had a new baby, you know, my son, and I was just like, I'm just tired. Just let me be. I'm tired, and that's all it was. I was just fatigued, but I'm glad, man. I like to say, you know, I still enjoyed it. I still wanted to be there. That's why for me it's easy to go and do whatever. Sometimes and just watch the shows, or if they invite us, we go and sing with them, because you know we are forever part of what they are doing.
Yeah.
But Matambo, I am moving on 2010 in a way that they were not so moving now. But 2017, I think I was Siaka where they jump, they are really jumping, you know, in these dance moves and same thing you oil in Nango.
Oh my word.
Oil in my bones.
So maybe let's get, before we get to the project, and you mentioned that you have a son. I take it that you're married.
Yes, son and a daughter.
Son and a daughter. Oh, okay. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's every couple's dream. Ngifuna umfana nentombazana. Lo mina hayi mina ngifuna umfana, lo mina hayi mina ngifuna intombazana. So I guess both of you are covered. And when do you meet Happy?
Oh, hey, when midnight.
You said something happens in the midnight. Mina ngilalela ukusho kwezilakhi.
2009, I get to Joburg, right, to start work here from KZN, because I was in Durban studying. Get here, then go back to Kota, yeah, we go from assemblies.
Yes.
Kota, your sister, Alex Assemblies of God. So I go there.
Ikota yabo sister.
Ikota your sister.
I should pay vele wayenzela lokho lena. And he was smart. That guy was an apostle, indeed.
I get there now, my sister. As I'm parking, they're like, "How Musa's back?" And then, you know, there's a ruckus in the car, but I used to take every opportunity to humble men if I could take it, and so that they don't think too highly of themselves. I would take it. So
okay.
Right? But I don't know him. I'm new. I get out of the car. They are greeting him out. Now I know why we are event. So they hadn't seen him in a long time. But I'm new here. So I just greet him. So everybody's greeting him with warmth. Me, I'm just greeting him. I extend my hand. I shake it. And then I'm a little bit impatient now because it's all calls.
Yeah.
And now it's never touching Lord, you know. And I said, Kate, I'm booking number 2 is all calls. So I'm a bit impatient. And I leave them to go inside.
Just before you continue this one, I must mention this. In our church, abantu abakholwa kakhulu, they are from Eastern Cape. Like imichele ilindele Eastern Cape in the Cape Town, you know.
Today,
then thina siyalandela.
Yeah, Yeah, to the extent that abalikholwa kahle ivangeli laseGoli. You know. So I get inside. Eventually, after ngibuza ukuthi ngena nini, banibona abangeni. Kanti Shemu brothers will never forget. In his kuye, that was the most rude thing I could have ever done. Oh, I was cold. Yes, no, he says I was cold. He says I was cold. So we are here in Johannesburg, same region, but not the same local. So
Yes.
for about 4 years after that, I never spoke to him.
Oh, okay.
Popular, but I never got to speak to him. I never got to see him much. Hi, bye. It's actually quite a long story, but of just God's guidance, because I really didn't like him at all. He also had an afro. He had an afro at some point, and then I got into church and they just elected him as the chairperson. I went to the car and I called my mother. I said, Mama, Banyulu chairman on the afro. I was so and then lo and behold, he comes and he preaches in Katlehong, some youth service. He cuts his hair now, so I could listen to him.
Oh, okay.
And then a friend of mine says to me, after the bus driver home, knowing me, and she says, please don't be mad at me. Do not be mad at me. To what? And if ever there is a male replica of Ncebakazi in this universe, it's that guy who was preaching tonight.
What?
I'm telling you. So it's got so many facets, but beautiful. That's why, I've seen it. God is romantic. Your God is such a romantic matter. And he has humbled me, because I used to mock this guy, because he's a lawyer, right? So he wears suits and was serious. So I'd get home, chill with my family, and they'd be like, yo, I guess it's feeling with top model.
Oh my word.
The biggest joke. So imagine now going back to the family and be like, oh, top model proposal. Oh, it's a joke. And I'm like, and I said yes. So I always say that God has humbled me. He has shown me that I may not know what's best for me, because oh,
okay. I want to know that.
But you know how it goes for us.
No, I'm still around.
Oh, are you still around? Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
I'm still.
So at the time I've got Solutions. Hey, now I'm telling all my business here. And my life,
That's
to be
the
honest,
whole point of this interview.
at that point, I was actually a little bit despondent, because so what happens in church is, and I'll say this, and I hope nobody takes offense, because we've got the mission approach, and the mission approach essentially means any and everyone. Mission approach. So what would happen is, then everybody, if people think you are a little bit light-skinned and you can sing and you figure, I promise you, traffic. Even today, I'm not a single lady, but I can tell you now, or single lady, mission area. So for me, then when I joined July Celebration, it intensified. Like I would literally get to the mission house and a person I've been going to say to you,
Oh my word.
I'm telling you. I'm literally I'm telling you. So I was actually
a machine.
You have no idea. And I said it respectfully, and like that's why I said I'm saying it respectfully, because sometimes they think, oh, no. And I think yes, but yes, some of them were lying. Some of them I believe they were genuine but misguided. It's okay. I call Nagi, because the whole process you must respect people. Like, no problem. So I was a bit despondent. So I said to Mama, I don't even want to get married in this church anymore, which is our church. I was like, no way. So he came. I would literally roll my eyes at the office. I would roll my eyes at the office and like, not again, because sometimes I would come out of giving an answer 3 weeks ago, and 3 weeks later or a month later, I'm being called again. It really got hectic. So yes, man. But because
if polyandry was allowed in the Bible, like list,
yes,
yeah, my husbands.
Maybe maybe that's another reason why I don't understand why women have to do anything to secure men, because it's supposed to be the other way around. So maybe if babengazange bangicele kangaka nami bengiyababona bayede ngonyama zonke. I don't know. You know, sometimes you are socialized ngendlela ethile, it informs your thinking. For me, they are just brothers. Brothers are just brothers.
So what was different about this man who initially annoyed you?
Okay, still got time, so I'll talk about this as it is. So then what started happening was there was something very near tragic that happened in my life in 2011. I won't go into it, but it was near tragic. It would have been a something that would have changed the course of my life forever. And then I started, and this is another thing, don't mock what you don't know, right? So because I'm the person that I am, and I'm like I said to you, because I've got a forehead, I question. So I question to the point of mocking people who would say they have dreams that reveal who their partners would be. I mocked them. I would ridicule that with whatever. Which yes, so but this is what God did, and I appreciate him for that. From 2011 around May, June, I started having dreams about a figure that was not defined initially up until the fourth dream. In the fourth dream, it became clear that it's this guy. The guy, when I say it's this guy, in Kombe Ruminia, the guy I'm married to now.
What?
And then I'm telling you, see, now this should have been an in-person interview, because then I would have brought you my journal. So I started journalizing these dreams when I finally saw his face, but it was confusing because serious and shy, especially in spaces where I'm not used to people.
Yes.
But I'm also very loud if I'm around my people. I love laughing. I'm crazy. I'm very bubbly. And then I very serious, and I'm like, God, but it doesn't make sense. Because if God is in the room, I don't care who's watching. I don't.
Okay.
And he's this gentleman, prim and proper, a respected lawyer, and he's calm. He'll never scream. It doesn't even make sense, man. I'm crazy for God, and he's reserved. It just doesn't make sense. And then I had a fifth one, and I started sharing them with my mother. My mother is a very prayerful person. And then I had a sixth one, all the way up until a ninth one, where it became very clear what God was communicating with me. What I appreciate about Mama was that. So eventually, and still, having known what I knew, I think it took about a year between the last dream and the proposal. And I was determined to run away as far as possible from that world, because then at that point in time, I told myself, if somebody who's not from the church, because I'm not fooling, but why so many dreams of one person? If someone who's not from the church proposes and God says yes, I might even force him to say yes, I will then definitely go that direction, just so I leave this church and I leave this weird dreams. I don't understand what's going on with this. But God is so faithful, and I've seen him rescue us despite our stupidity. What we think is smartness, I've seen him do that with me. So eventually, fast forward, because India was land, when he proposes, and I on the second appointment, I bring him my journal, which is where I'd written about all these dreams. So I think so like, even if you have the answer, you can't. Sisters, play hard to get, man. Come on. Especially Lamaba's morning at brother, no way. I mean, because now it's his favorite prize story. He loves telling people how hard it was, how hard he worked. Men love that thing of saying, hey, wow. I'm champion food. Yeah, so I handed him over that, and what I appreciate about my mother is that when eventually the whole process, Mama, I always knew what those dreams meant, but it was not my place to tell you what they meant. God was always going to do it. So I loved that about her, because she didn't care about those things, Mom. She just cared about God guiding me and me finally reaching the right decision. So yes, it's a long story, but now you've made me short in it. It's okay.
Okay. Interesting.
Unomdayi,
Beautiful
tall,
story.
caramel, and handsome.
When I finally get into TV production, I'm gonna get that channel, and I'm gonna make sure we can produce something Gomorrah like with your love story. So your music, how do you decide to do an album?
2019. Yeah, so Puleng comes to my house 2018. 2019, man, uThixo angandrestisi nje ukuthi hey stop because it was awucenga yena but for so long. Yeah. And then when you press it in your heart, then you are like, okay, so September that year ngabiza siyanqoba ngabiza umyeni wami sahlala phansi ngathi no yabona it's impressed in my spirit but it is time now. I've been avoiding it, I've been running away, but it's time. So we started planning from then, you know. At the time we thought their first is May 2020. So by the time they valley country andivuye because we okay Lord, you see I tried. I tried.
Is that how shy you are?
No, you know what? Shyness aside, right? It's not an easy industry, hey? The gospel industry. I don't know if it's that cousin. I'm not sure if that cousin. It's not an easy industry. It's an industry where you can easily lose yourself, but also lose the most important, valuable things in your walk with God. You know, it's a jungle. Hey, it's a jungle. And if you are somebody who stands up for things, you know, you may find yourself in some parts misunderstood or isolated. So I just like to keep to my space where I understand Evangeli for what it is. So it's a very complicated world out there. So it's not an industry that I easily jump into. So yeah, Puleng is such a great encouragement to me. It's like, my friend, yes, it's not easy. Yes, it's got twists and turns, but it doesn't mean now we can't answer our callings because, you know, other things have taken over the territory that God wants to operate in. So, and for me, you know, such encouragements are part of the reason why I was like, you know what, because God has sanctioned me to do it, He won't send me alone. He will walk with me. So when I got that assurance, then I started to plan, because yes, then after Sokubaliwe 2020 and people are saying to me, hey, show kuvuliwe, show yenzani, I was running, and then January, ndavuka with, you know, it's like a fire shut in your bones. Ndavuka with the greatest sense of urgency, you know. And I woke my husband up in the middle of the night. I was like, okay, God says now I can't play games anymore. No games to play. It's not about me, really. So we had to plan and sahlanganisa in no time. Yeah.
Wow. Does he still preach?
Who now? My husband?
Yeah.
Yes, he preaches. And you know what's funny? We are shouting before he had the prim and proper court style, you know, like.
Oh my word!
What? Hey, but now the fire, it's like men with twins, man. With twins, because in some parts I become more like him, and in some parts it's become more like me. It's crazy. God is so amazing, and only he could have seen that. We laugh sometimes, and we look at each other, and we're like, would you have imagined that? You know, the Ncebakazi, because he didn't have much of a liking for me either. Like, would you have imagined that we would have gelled like we've gelled? Only God would have seen that. We didn't see it at all.
Only God can do it. I mean, you were so cold towards him, and he had an afro which you did not understand to an extent you had to call your mother and report. So, the 34th Psalm, how does the name of the album come about?
Indumiso 34, verse number 5. One of the verses that have just carried me for the longest time. They that look to him are radiant with joy, and their faces shall never be put to shame. Yeah. So for me, leo verse leyo iyandithwala man kwizimo ngezimo, because you can, in this world you can get so easily tempted to look and assess people's faces, look and assess the situation, and weigh them up. But God is not asking much from us. Jongani where putting Jongani boom and so has I will never compromise that focus not on the things because it's on me. And I will make sure that you are never ever, you never be as long as you are fixing your eyes off. So the entire album, even the songs that I have, they stem from a variation of putting God. And this is the thing, right? Sometimes God will have so much courage for other people. All over. But for me, I've found that He really just wants to be so deliberate about how I walk, and it just so happens that he makes me understand. And
Yo.
You can't threaten me like in the dimension of interview. Someone had said, sizomrekhoda kanjani ngoba akana relevance like social media
yeah, you were talking about relevance actually. Yes.
Yeah which was no akasekho relevant. You left joyous and you decided to live your life privately. Yeah, ukuthi anginayo best for relevance, anginayo inhliziyo ethi ngilala kabuhlungu namhlanje because angifumenanga 1,000 likes. No, that's my mandate. My mandate in life is not defined by Instagram. My mandate in the kingdom of God is not defined by popularity, and that's what I needed the person to understand. Because even in my walking in this path now, starting it, it's not because I feel like my voice is the most relevant in this generation. God has said do it, and because He said it, even if it doesn't make sense in terms of the numbers, He has said it for a reason. And honestly, He has shown me why He required it. Now I'm not much interested in the big platform testimonies, but when someone will send you a message, which is what I got last week, and it's one of many. I was battling in depression because of chemotherapy and cancer, and there was healing in the room. Listening to 1, 2, 3. See, for me, those are the reasons why I would wake up and go into an industry that I do not like. Simply because God says, I'm fetching something, I'm fetching souls, I'm sending something. I won't do it for anything else. I won't do it because I honestly, with all due respect, I don't care about those things. But the mandate of God, that's all that now when I rest one day, I will be fulfilled, knowing whether that's all that I aspire to.
I am speechless. But then you remind me of, these past few days, a few weeks ago, I fought Nolondiwe. I was paying money. And I fought with her with Uguti. Hey man, that's how fun go busy, And Londiwe made me understand, Uguti, for her it's not about that. It's not about being in all the posters that are around and all that. She didn't have to say that, but in her response, I could sense, Uguti, this person is actually saying to me, Ebra, I'm not interested in all those things, man. Minanghamba ngokwe mandate. And now that you are mentioning it, it just hits there. I'm like, wow.
And sometimes it glitters and it's a trap, yes. That's why one of the things I appreciate about in Gonzo in the with every invite, weigh it up in prayer. God will tell you with Bayakubiza out into the fields, Joseph. But what are they up to? God is in the business of exposing things that look good but may not be what they look like. So it's very important to walk according to that mandate prayerfully.
When I grow up, I want to be like you.
I've
decided.
I'm very short.
You take it from your spiritual father. I didn't say anything. The views expressed are from Ncebakazi.
only 30 minutes, 45 minutes.
It has been an hour. It has been. My bosses love me, so they allow me to do whatever I want.
Wow.
So just a last question, Oguti. What would you like to be remembered as?
Yeah. I don't know, but yes. Because for me again, same is all I've been living for. Christ, the Christ mandate, the Christ mandate. And even in my Facebook life, I preach a lot. I just want people to see God in love, see the depth of the love of God, because that's how I have experienced Him, and I'm desperate for them to understand how deeply loved and appreciated they are. And for me, if in Pirenkulu was in one way or another, I would have lived a very fulfilling life. Utuko has blessed me. I believe the more I conduct the things that matter to Him, He's taking care of the other things such that I don't need to worry about them. He takes care of them. So I don't. I'm amaphupha amakhulu ngoNcebakazi, to say, outside of God Himself, because then the other little things He really takes care of.
You are so dependent on the Lord.
Absolutely.
You are. I think you're fit to speak like Paul. It is no longer I who lives, but Christ lives in me.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about the album? What information do we need to know? Where do we get it? How do we get it?
Yeah, so it's called the 34th Psalm. Ikona kabo iTunes, ikona kabo Spotify, Amazon, so all these online music platforms you'll find it there. I also have a YouTube channel where I've got 2 videos there, which is Nwele and Ukufeza Kumadinga, and over time I'm going to put in more there. So Ncebakazi Msomi, on my Facebook, on my Instagram, and on YouTube as well. We've also got hard copy CDs, which thank you so much. People have been ordering and buying over the last few weeks since the Galus Tengisa. Zona Ziyafumaneka, can I give out the number?
Please do, and your social media handles.
Okay, cool. So the number is 083 2294 363. So it's for bookings and if you want to get the CDs. And then my social media are just Ncebakazi Msomi, Ncebakazi Msomi, Ncebakazi. And I'm always saying this here, I knew on Twitter. That's I'm on Twitter.
Black Twitter will have you, hey?
Yeah, it will have you, man. Like on a super platter, so no.
Which one is your I know I'm asking you to choose a Bantoni Nbaku, but which one is your favorite good album?
I cannot. I can't possibly. Oh my god, I can't.
Which one makes you speak in tongues?
There's such characters, though. There's such a blessing. I choose strong characters, and funny enough, they've taken after the girl after me and the boy after daddy. Yeah.
Is it? So as per gender.
As per gender, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, my darling. Thank you so much. Any last words?
Thank you for having me, Booty. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you guys opening up such opportunities for us. Ndabulela nasebantwini emakhaya, guys. You have received our work more in greater heights than I was crying on both days of my release. I don't cry, because niggas don't cry.
Oh, okay.
I don't cry. I don't cry. So literally, or when I release my singles and the reception and the album, and even now, you've just touched my heart, and you've been a great confirmation of why God wanted this to be done. So thank you. I appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. Kakhulu.
Nkulunkulu neendlela zakhe ezivunguvuni nasesiphepheni. Which song do you want me? But ingoma esikhapha ngayo. Esikhipha ngayo umufi. Okay.
Which is what I want them to understand about their lives as well. The will of God can never be thwarted.
So, but I'm a question on my repetition. Who composed the song?
I I composed yesterday on drive to work. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. Many artists I know they compose music while they're in a plane to Botswana.
Oh.
I was in a plane. No pun intended.
Maybe I was just driving in digital.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for allowing us to just come in now and get so personal. You know, I always love doing it like this, getting to know the woman behind the mic. And thank you so much for opening up. And Baba for stealing his time.
Thank you.
I'm telling you, just to say so. Have a great evening. That was Ncebakazi. What a beautiful song, guys. Now please do check her out on social media. It's like on Twitter and Facebook, Ncebakazi Msomi, and Ncebakazi Msomi. And I will be putting your info on the Leandra FM page with regards to how